Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another incredible episode of E2E Expert to Experts, where we bring you the world's best experts. And have you ever been in a situation where you hear this phrase where everybody says, job? What is a job? Job is the journey of a broke. And sometimes you may feel like, this does not resonate. I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm still in a job. I'm not making enough money. I would like to open my business. I would like to start this. I would like to start that. But then you feel lost and lonely. Well, I'm so excited today to bring you here on stage, okay, an expert that can give you insights, tips, and guidance on how you can shift. So, the key word of today's episode is shift. Shift from what? A shift is a transformation. And transformation means that you're moving in another form. Okay? So, the expert of today is an expert on transformative leadership. Transformative leadership. So, with no further ado, let's bring on stage the one and only Mutiat. There you go, Mutiat. Glad to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much, Moses. That was a fantastic introduction. And I love the way you described job, journey of broke. Wow. That is
Yes.
phenomenal. Wonderful.
Yes, I
Thank you
mean,
so much.
when I was in the corporate world working for a company, I was constantly listening to that word job, the journey of a broke, and I said I don't want to be in that journey. And because freedom is one of my highest values, I've been always obsessed with how can I make a difference? How can I make an impact? What can I do? What can I create? But then when you get out there alone, I failed miserably so many times. That's what I describe in my books, all my failures and my setbacks. Now, I want to ask you a direct question because you are the expert in transformative leadership. First of all, what is leadership according to Mutiat?
Leadership, according to Mutiat, is the ability to lead yourself to whatever dream, whatever destination you want to take yourself to, so that you can excel, so that you can live a fulfilled life. Because the thing is, if you're unable to take yourself on a journey in life to where you would love to be, then you have no business leading anyone else, as in anyone else. So leadership is the ability to lead yourself first to wherever happiness is, freedom is, whatever you desire, to lead yourself to that destination, and that's leadership.
All right, that's a regional definition of leadership. I love it. I love it. And what is transformative leadership?
Oh, transformative leadership. Oh, I think you spoke about it, because the process of transformation is you coming from a particular state into another state. And most of the time, when you go into that state, when you shift, using your word, is getting yourself into a better state. So you continue to transform from one form to another form of you, to another state of you, getting better, improving yourself, being better, doing better, and that's transformation.
Okay,
Changing
and
from one form to the other.
One form to the other. Okay, so I was correct with my definition at the beginning. And when it comes to transformative leadership, why are you the expert? I mean, why Mutiat? Why you? So what led you, and what kind of qualifies you to be the expert on leadership, transformative leadership?
Thank you so much, Moses, for that question. You know what? And when you said, "Why are you the expert?" It may take me quite long to answer this question, but I'm going to start somewhere.
We've
So
got
I
plenty of time, no worries.
Good. So I started out when we talk about, beginning to live for yourself. That's when you get into work, into profession. You have a dream, you have a career. So I started out as a young broadcaster so many years ago. I studied mass communications and I loved to, I was a radio broadcaster. But you see what? I was the worst radio broadcaster you could ever imagine. Not because I didn't know my job. My bosses at the time, they loved me so much because I knew the job. And when I say I knew the job, I could be behind the microphone and speak and do all of those things and read the news and do those things. Once I stepped out of that cubicle, I was the shyest person ever. Like I literally couldn't speak. I was no confidence, nothing. I never thought I would be the one doing business and talking to people and doing all of this. I never ever thought that because I was so quiet. I was always on my own, being in my shell. I remember some bosses saying to you, "Oh, now you're in your shell." Once I'm outside of the studio, I cannot talk. I can't integrate, with the people. And that made me lose so much in terms of the job because I couldn't get myself to explore the greater things that lies beneath the job that I was doing. So in retrospect, I saw that I lost a lot. However, in my journey, I knew that I wanted more. And at the time as well, I was a writer. So I do a lot of poetry, I do a lot of creative writing stories. And I had a blog so many years ago. I had a blog on Google, this Google blog something. So whilst I was writing one day, I saw this advert, the Google ads that just comes on, and I saw the advert about um, refine your life, do something about your life. And I clicked on it. I didn't even know what it meant. I clicked on that and I read through. And I guess because I read through the pixel, every time I was writing on my blog, the advert would come. Someday I then said, okay, let me explore this. It was in London. And then so it was something to do with becoming a life coach. So I went for the program at the time, and it was a free event. And then I saw people, there was something that changed everything for me. I saw people who were naive as I was, who people were shy, who were then going on the stage. And it wasn't a big stage, it was just a classroom for us, who were just talking about who they were, introducing themselves. I remember I have always been this shy person, so I couldn't do that. But within me, I wanted to do it. I just wanted to go out and say, okay, this is who I am. This is what I do. I couldn't. So I went for the program a second time. And that time, I challenged myself to go just in front of the class and say, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is why I came here. And I did. And for that 1-2 minutes that I did that, it felt to me like I was released from a cage. I felt so satisfied. I felt so, immensely grateful about me stepping up to show up for myself. I felt like I had a relief from something that had been holding me. And since that day, I said to myself, you know what? I will do this again. I'll do this again. And I'll do this. And that was how I then, enrolled. I didn't enroll as a coach at first. I then had to speak to somebody who then coached me for the first time. So I had to enroll in coaching, and it was during that situation that I got the transformation for me, that I was able to explore the deeper side of who I really am, who I wanted to be. And then that changed a lot of things for me. So, um, when you say transform, I actually went through that transformation myself. Like, and I can tell you, when I started, like, Facebook, when you have friends that you've been with many years, and I was so shy to put my things out because I've always had that tag, and I think I loved it. Well, not loved it, but I stayed with it. But until I got that transformation to say, you know what, you have your life to live, you can lead yourself into freedom and everything, that changed everything for me. So I understand transformation from the core of it, from us wanting to be somewhere or something, or having dreams and goals and not being able to do that. And in my journey, that got me into getting different roles, then starting my business, then speaking
Okay.
out, doing a
Okay.
lot of things.
Before we go into the moment you transform and went into opening your businesses, I know that you worked for over 12 years in the corporate career. So, what was that career, and how did you manage? Because most people who are watching and listening us right now, they may be in that corporate job environment and they want to shift, they want to transition. So, how did you do that? And what were the major challenges and dangers? And how did you deal with them?
Okay, so in transitioning from my corporate job to entrepreneurship, also many, many challenges. As I said, in the corporate job that I did, I didn't think I was going to step out just like that, but so many things happened. One of the things that happened was, when you're working in an organization and you know that you bring a lot to the table. So in that organization, what actually made me to shift was that I was being overworked. I was running through so much stress. And I'll tell you how I knew that. I was at work one day, and it was about 10 in the morning, and I had collapsed. Why did I collapse? At that time, I didn't know. I was in a hospital. I was taken from work to hospital, and in hospital, just about four. Remember, I got there in the morning. About 4:30 in the evening, I saw a text on my phone, and it was my, immediate manager, senior manager, asking me, "Mutiat, when do you reckon you're going to be back at work?" And I was, "What is this?" I was so I was so angry. I was so destabilized, and I was thinking to myself, what does this mean? It only means to me at that point that the only thing he cared about was the money I was making for the company, the work I was
Mhm.
doing. And how could you be asking me that question? And in that moment, so many things ran in my mind. I said to myself, oh, maybe I'm going to quit. Maybe I'm not going to go back there. Maybe, but I took my time, because I was in there for a while. I took my time. And, as I pondered on that, something said to me, just do something differently. Do
Mhm.
something differently. You need to speak up, because what brought me here, what brought me there, I don't want to continue with that. So I had to speak up myself. So after going back, after some days off and all of those, maybe weeks off, I went back determined to speak up for myself. And that was when I actually, booked an appointment with the director. It took me weeks to get the director's attention and all of that, because he's always very busy. But eventually I did that. I got their attention, and I explained the situation to them, not just because I got a text, no, but because of what took me there was that I was being made to induct, to onboard a senior manager in my department. The role that I wasn't given was given to somebody from outside, and I was made to, onboard him, make him feel okay, introduce him to the clients, make him understand the system and all of that. So at the time, for about 3, 4 months, I was doing two people's work, with my work, which was what led to the burnout. So I
And
explained
how
about
did that
this.
make you feel?
Oh, how that made me feel. Oh, it made me, hate myself. Like, how could I be doing that? I was taking other people's work home. I was always busy, always busy. I felt like a slave, really. it was so bad. But at the time, if I hadn't fallen off at work, I probably wouldn't have spoken for myself. I probably wouldn't have felt the anger that I felt in hospital, to make that determination to go back and speak for myself. So I think it was a point of enough is enough.
Hmm.
Something has to be done differently at this point. And
Okay.
that was how I spoke up for myself, and I explained everything. It did give me another role, me speaking up for myself, a senior role. But over time, the fact that I had gone through that stage, that state, made and was able to speak up, showed me more of my worth, at work, and what I was bringing to the table. And those were the things that led to me saying, you know what, at some point, I needed to go because I know what I can do on my own. So that was how I transitioned from corporate to entrepreneurship.
And it's very interesting what you said. So, my biggest takeaways right now is that you got to a point where your should became a must. So, I
That's it.
must speak out, I must step up for myself.
Yeah,
So, you got from a point where the pain of not being considered and not being valued in the organization led you to say, I need to speak out. So,
exactly.
the pain, instead of turning into suffering, the pain became a leverage for you to speak out and make things happen. And then,
Exactly.
like always, life gave you a candy, a lollipop. They gave you a promotion in a senior role, but then deep inside of you, you knew again that is not where I should
Hmm.
be. There
Yeah.
is more. Okay. So now, how can professionals leverage their leadership skills to build a successful business like you did? Give us 3 steps on how they can do that.
The first thing they need to do is identify the skills. You have to be clear on the skills that you have and the skills that you want to leverage. Once you're clear on the skills, you need to know who your skills can solve problems for. Identifying who needs the solution that the skills that you have, can get. Who needs the skills? Identify your skills. Who needs the skills? And how do I promote visibility? How do I get the word out? How do people get to know me? How do I attract these people? So it's about how do you get yourself out there to let them know that you have the solution to the problem that they're facing,
Hmm.
basically.
So, step number 1, identify your skills.
Yeah.
Step number 2 is identify who needs
Who
the
needs the
skills.
solution your skills can solve?
And
And
then,
step
final
number
step
three,
is how do I promote out there?
yes,
So, for those of you who are watching, okay, and you are listening, click the button, subscribe, follow us, follow Mutiat, and please make sure you share this to somebody who is in a phase wondering whether they should move out, have a transition, and move into a new role or stepping into your own business. So, step number 1, identify your skills. Step number 2, identify who needs the skills. And step number 3, how do you promote it out there? Start focusing on how you can voice out there what you are bringing on the table. Okay. So, this is very interesting, Mutiat. Thank you for sharing this. Now, there's one thing which is a common pattern when I speak with people who have gone through this type of transformation. And one of my most famous phrases I say always to my clients and to the companies I work with is that business is a reflection of who you are. So, as you said, leadership is more about you leading yourself to the steps, to the role, to the position, to the identity you need to step in. So, my question is this: how much does mindset and confidence affect this process of transformation? And people out there, do they need any type of help or they can do it by themselves? Please.
Oh, goodness, what a question. You know what? That is fantastic. How much does mindset and confidence, have to do with people transitioning from one state or transitioning from corporate to entrepreneurship? In fact, mindset is the key thing that they need to shift, because without a shift of their mindset, that's what's keeping them stuck anyway. Remember that I said that even when I got the role, I moved. Um, Obviously, as somebody who was burning out at work, who was stressful, I would have thought of different things to say, oh, I need to move, I'm not happy. But what kept me stuck at the point was my mindset. That wasn't good for me, that wasn't serving me. And that's what keeps most people stuck in places and situations, in jobs that don't serve them. So mindset is a key thing that needs to be worked on if we must progress in the things, if people must do, because with the people that I talk to, most of them make excuses, and these excuses are grounded in their mindset that's not strong enough to help them make the leap. So they are afraid. They think their skills are not enough, even though they've been in those organizations, serving those organizations with their skills for 15 years, more than 15 years, making other people's businesses work, but thinking that they cannot make their own business work. So mindset
Mhm.
has a great thing to play. And when you're able to boost your mindset, see things from different perspective, reframe your mindset, then you build your confidence, because then that makes you take action, that begins to allow you to accomplish some things that fuels that confidence. So mindset is, the key thing you need to work on to be able to transition successfully and be in there and continue to evolve, really.
Now, when you transform your leadership skills from a corporate world, from your job, into starting your own business, starting your own adventure, based on your experience, because you have been coaching and consulting a lot of high level professionals and helping them to transform into entrepreneurs. So, what are the biggest mistakes new entrepreneurs make, and how can they avoid them?
Oh, that's super interesting. So, the biggest mistakes people make is saying to themselves, I'm not enough. I don't have what
Mhm.
it takes. Doubting, self doubting themselves, doubting the skills that they have, and making excuses like, I need, I need finance. I need making excuses. So the biggest mistake is, people doubting themselves, not having the confidence to take the leap, right? Not understanding, not really paying into what will serve them, not having the bigger picture for themselves, and how they can avoid this mistake, of not procrastinating and not being in the job and in the service that's not serving them, is actually to take the leap. Take action. You will never get anywhere if you don't take that action. So, whether that action is for you to now begin to write down the skills that you want to go and leverage, to begin to identify how you want to do that, or writing a business plan, or working with a coach, working with a consultant, or building a product or a service and begin to sample that, taking action is what's going to help anyone really move from corporate where they are stuck to actually building the life and the freedom that they want. It's about taking action. And action for different people will mean different things. It could be
Mhm.
learning the ropes, building the base and the foundation of my business, talking to other like-minded people, or talking to somebody who's done it before. But what you don't want to do is just continue to ponder and think and self-doubt and stay in the stock. What you want to do is take action. And the first action may be very scary, but take that action, and that gives you the confidence to do something different, to keep moving.
Okay, very interesting. And as you were talking, there was a word coming in my mind, And I want to see what your perspective is. Okay, so a lot of people get excited. I'm going to leave my job. I'm going to start this business, and they think it's easy. All right. So how can a new entrepreneur, while they're opening their business and and during the transition from corporate job to your own business, how can they manage the balance between excitement and commitment?
Hmm. Okay. Do you know what? I'd like to say, as much as, I'm on this program and telling you, obviously, I did tell you how I was, the shyest and I didn't make the most of my broadcasting program. However, as much as I am coming here and telling you that, I built this business, I went from corporate to entrepreneurship, you know what? It was challenging. It was difficult. It was difficult, difficult, difficult. It would be difficult. It was. So I've made this move years and years and years ago, and I didn't just start like I wanted to leave corporate and I'm in business just like that. No, it doesn't work like that. It's a transition, right? It's a gradual move from you wanting it and then building the pillars of your business whilst either you are having a side hustle or whilst you've had a huge investment that you want to use to build the pillars of your business until it gets to that point that your business begins to serve you. So going back into that, how people can transition is understanding that there are phases to transitioning from corporate to entrepreneurship. And as you know, business is the most difficult thing you can invest yourself, invest your body, invest your money, your soul, your passion into, that's going to give you the most reward. But before you get the most reward, you probably get the most pain. You probably get the most shattering of your life. Okay, so it's a gradual thing. It's understanding that it has to be built step by step, which is why I call it transitioning from corporate to entrepreneurship. So understanding that you need to first lay a foundation for your business, understand your business, be clear about what you want to do, begin to attract people, test and try, your business with people before you then make a full transition into you know running that business. So it has to be something that you do gradually, slowly, and it builds your trust in you. It builds your trust in the systems that you are creating, that you're building into your business. It gives you the leverage to then have the credibility that you want, have the self-trust, have the systems, the practices in place, and say, okay, yes, now I know that I have done this business for XYZ amount. It has been validated. I have a number of clients. I have people who trust me, who know me, who like me. I've sold XYZ. So it's something that you do gradually. It's not something you say, oh no, I'm angry. I want to leave my work and I'm going to leave my work just like that and step into something different. It's going to be really, really, really hard. And also, mindset is part of what you need to transition. You need a very strong mindset. You need to be prepared. You need to understand that it's going to be difficult. You need to understand that it needs you to work hard, like what we spoke about in entrepreneurship. When you first start, you are everything. You make the decisions yourself. The routines and the structures in the corporate world disappears immediately. Obviously, the paycheck, the steadiness of that disappears immediately. But apart from that, you need to know that you begin to be everything. So the decisions you're making will either be good for you or be bad for you. So you're ready to weather that storm. You're ready to embrace the consequences of the decisions you're going to be making. So a lot of willingness to build your mindset, a lot of willingness to be tough, a lot of resolve to be resilient has to happen in the background, before you actually take the step into entrepreneurship.
Brilliant. And before we close up, I wanted to ask you one tip, because I know that you are a advocate for female entrepreneurship. You are there to inspire other women to make that leap, to make that step, to make that decision. So, what is one tip you may want to give to female uh, ladies who are in a job or are in the corporate world and they are thinking of making this transition? What is one tip that you can give them?
Have the audacity to say yes to your freedom, have the audacity to say yes to the lifestyle that you want, have the audacity to say yes to how you want to build your destiny. And the reason I said that is, you see, for me as a mother, one of the greatest joys that I get from having to work for myself, is the fact that I'm sorry, but I don't have to run to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. I have the opportunity to take my son to school. I have the opportunity, even though at 16, at 15, at 14, I have the opportunity to be there to wake them up in the morning and not, that's one of the greatest joys for me. So what sort of life do you want to live? How do you want to manage your life with your loved ones? So that's the freedom. That's the destiny you want to build for yourself. So have the audacity to say, okay, this is what I want. I'm going to step into it. Have the courage to do that. So that's the one thing. It's having that audacity to say, you know what, I'm going to step into my destiny, and that's it.
Wonderful. Thank you. And now, um, what have you prepared for our audience? What's the gift that you want to give them? What you want to share for them so they can get to know you, get to connect with you, and potentially get to work with you? So, what is it that you have for them?
Okay, because I know that every woman, every female corporate person, has the potential of becoming a CEO of their own business. So I have a valuable ebook which is called Unleash Your Inner CEO, that is going to give them the steps to building the foundation of the business that they want to build, to understand, to have the clarity on how to leverage their skills, begin to build the foundation for their business, see how they can validate their ideas. So I've got that ebook, and it's something I'm happy to give to them free of charge.
Unleash your inner seal. Okay, so that's the gift from Mutiat. And once you register, you can get all the details and you can start following. Make sure you follow Mutiat because you're going to hear a lot about her. And she is on a mission to make an impact. And as an expert in transformative leadership, she's the right person to go to whenever you have a chance to or you've got thoughts or you need to find a way on how you can transform from one skill of leadership to a successful business and be a successful entrepreneur. Now, before we go, I need to ask you one more question, Mutiat. Now, imagine you are who you are right now. And I want you to be objective with the mindset, the history of who you are today. Okay. But then on the left side, I want you to have in mind and look at the 8-year old Nutiat. And then on your right side, I want you to have the 80-year-old Mutiat. Now, what would the Mutiat of today tell the small little girl? And what would the Mutiat of today tell the 8-year-old Mutiat? Briefly, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll start with the 8-year-old Mutiat. And I'll say to 8-year-old Mutiat, you know what? You've got it all. You just have to step into your glory. You can be there. You can be it. You can do it. Stop being afraid.
Mhm.
That's for the 8-year-old.
Okay. And
And
to the
for the
80,
80-year-old Mutiat, I'm just going to ask a question. Do you feel fulfilled? Did you do everything you needed to do to live a fulfilled life?
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. And with this final reflection, we come to the end of our amazing episode. And feel free to subscribe, follow the channel, follow Mutiat, and share this. Download it, listen to it, let it be there to you. This is E2E, expert to experts, where we bring you the world's best experts, and see you on the next episode. Thank you. Thank you, Mutiat.
Thank you
Ciao.
so much. Thank you.